3. Don't tell me I'm spamming chat. 2, 1. Yeah, go on, everybody wave. Awesome. Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So this is the second week of dungeons, and loads of people have turned up. I thought that it would like die down, but apparently not. It's so awesome. Look at all these forms as well, how everybody moved to the back. So cool. So hi guys, welcome to another video. We're going to kick this one off, as I said, by reading the book, the page in the book from the last one, which was the Cathedral of Flames. So let's wrap this one up. Once freed, Pyre's warbands sacked the cathedral, looking for anything of value. In their search, they unearthed a blocked passage. Clearing the debris revealed a stash of treasure plundered from Ascalonian ruins. But there was more. The spirits of those slain for these spoils of war had attached themselves to the treasure, haunting the vaults. Worse yet, a powerful necromancer named Murakkai dwelt among them. She used the creature's unliving essence to create a storm of souls, which she planned to unleash upon human and Char alike. It fell to us to lay these disembodied spirits to rest and to suspend Murakkai's wrath, if only for a time. That line there, somebody actually mentioned in the comments, that Murakkai could come back in Guild Wars 2, and that they thought I should mention that. And that's totally true. Yeah, it could be quite interesting. The other thing that was a big thing that I didn't mention, which I should have, when we were in Raghar's menagerie with the Flesh Reavers, those Flesh Reavers are actual enemies come Guild Wars 2. They like start breeding and spreading and infesting Tyria, and it's really cool. So we actually see the birth of a race there that will be in an enemy race come Guild Wars 2, which is super cool. So yeah, maybe Murakkai will the same thing will happen, maybe not, but in any case, it was a cool dungeon. And then we had the Cathedral of Flames, of course. This week we're doing the Ooze Pit. I've actually had quite a lot of feedback now from you guys about this dungeon series, and a lot of people, I'm still not 100% sure about, yeah, there is kind of a disconnect on the series, sort of where I'm reading from lore and there's just random stuff going on in the background. A lot of people have said don't speed it up though, and I'm more than happy to do that. It's more footage for you guys to watch. It gives me more time to talk about stuff, I suppose. So I'm perfectly happy doing that. So we'll see how it goes if they're not sped up. Do continue giving me feedback, please, guys, because you know it's a bit of a weird series. Anyway, right, so yeah, we're going to be doing the Ooze Pit. To get the quest there, you might have noticed we're doing all the Char Homeland stuff. We'll be moving on to, this is the last Char Homeland dungeon, actually. We'll be moving on to the far Shiver Peaks tomorrow on Sunday. But to start the quest, we're going to be going out here. So I'm just going to check everybody in the party is okay to go. Also, there were so many of you here that I'm going to do 2 different dungeon runs, right? Both of them are going to be the Ooze Pits. I'm going to come back and get another batch of people. So sort of halfway through this video, we're going to have a cut, and all the party members should change, hopefully. So I hate turning people away. I really do. And there's just so many of you, it kind of sucks that I've had to. So yeah, let me check everybody's okay. We'll go out into the portal and I'll continue. All right, looks good. Okay, so let's get going. I was born this way. Brilliant. It's so funny, that new feature that they added to the party member with the ticks, but like nobody ever clicks like a tick on their name to say that they're ready unless you specifically go out of your way to ask for it. It's a bit weird. I don't know how useful it really is. But anyway, we're going to be coming up here. It's not Rowan. It's who is it that gives us the quest actually? Hold on. No. Somebody just took us into the mission. Oh, no. Oh, this is not what we need to be doing. We're doing the mission, damn it. We're doing the Ooze Bits, damn it. Oh, fail. Okay. Yeah, Rowan definitely doesn't take you to the Ooze Pits. He just takes you into the mission. Yes. Now we have to wait for people to skip. This is something I've never really shown on my videos because I always play it alone. This skipping cinematic thing. Magical Mike's actually got a hilarious video on his channel of how annoyed you can get when nobody skips. Or like 7 out of 8 people want to skip. look at all the comments. Okay. Right, back out into the uplands. Okay, right, hold on. The quest is just over here. I'm pretty sure it's Sea of Fierce Rain. No, it's not Fierce Rain, is it? Is it Rowan? No, Rowan takes us to the stronghold, yeah. So is it Sea of Fierce Rain? Or is that just another one of the missions? Ah, here we go. Yes, it is Sea of Fierce Rain. Brilliant. Okay, so this is the quest intro. Probably should have checked that before doing the video, but whatever. So Seer says, Pyre charged me with guarding our base and overseeing the siege weapons. The problem is we're extremely low on ammunition. I've been using gelatinous material from the oozes inhabiting a nearby cave. That stuff is nasty. It sticks to everything and burns forever. I love to watch it burn. Anyway, it's nearly impossible to transport the gelatinous material of the average ooze without disaster. I lost a lot of troops trying. But we finally found one one type of ooze that works fairly well. The prismatic form is stable enough to move most of the time. Bring me gelatinous material from prismatic oozes. Then I should be able to cause a ruckus. Brilliant. Time to get sticky. What do you mean most of the time? No, I'm sure we'll be fine. Right, so that's what we want to do to grab the quest. I'm going to walk there off camera. Basically, you remember this little cave here, the ooze pit? That's the best way for us to get there. So I doubt we'll zone over, but I'll see you guys when we're just outside the pit. So I'll see you in a second. Oh, and we're fighting. Time to see if we suck or not. Whew. Okay, hi guys, now doing the post commentary. I've edited the whole video together. In total, this ooze pit run, both runs together, took about 40 minutes, so this will be 2 videos for this dungeon now. I'm wondering if maybe I should speed the dungeons up still, maybe, but also I could make it so that they're always 40 minutes each, which means they'll be barely sped up in a lot of cases, which should really kind of resolve the issue. The one nice thing about speeding them up is it makes it really easy to match the length of the video to how long I end up just sitting around here talking about the lore, because I can kind of speed it up exactly to the amount I want, which is easier than me sitting here looking at the timeline now and being like, right, I've got half an hour to talk and I can't talk any more or any less. So yeah, but okay, so what do we actually learn about today? I said in the last video that we'd be looking at the Norn, but that's actually not true. That's not true at all. We were in January 2011 last time, okay? So the blog post, this is what I'm doing it in order. And in January 2011, the first ever blog post really came out. That was the wisdom and power of Kodan. That was the first one that really dealt with the lore and had some interesting stuff. Well, in February 2011, as I click this and load this here, you'll see actually, yeah, there's a lot of Norn stuff higher up, but the first one that came out was actually an amazing blog post, and I remember reading this. It's so good, okay? It's called The Line of Duty, the 3 Military Orders of Kryta. Alright, and this is quite good as well, because we're doing the War in Kryta in the main Let's Play as well, so this should fit in pretty well. I mean, obviously it's not the same series, but it does kind of fit in, and I'm very much in a bit of a Krytan mood at the moment. If this is the blog post, I've not read it through before. I'm reading this out loud now, so it's been about a year since I've read it, or just, you know, just under a year. So this way, hopefully my initial impressions as I remember what I read will just be able to come through straight away. But if this is the right one, this will talk about all of the different factions of Kryta's military, and there are a lot, and it's really interesting. This was the first time that I mean, we'd heard about Divinity's Reach, and by this point, obviously, the demo had already come out. The 2010 demo had been out. We'd seen Divinity's Reach and sort of explored it partially. But at the time, we didn't know that much about Divinity's Reach, and this was, also being one of the first big lore posts, really added so much depth. It's just, and what you'll find here is, as I read this stuff out, that there's a big question that I've had that I've wanted to really be able to ask ArenaNet for a long time, and that's that they've got these lore blog posts, right? They've got so much information you're about to hear about. It's so cool. But I really wonder how this is going to be expressed in the game. Somehow I feel like there's all this amazing stuff, but it's only going to be people like me who sit here reading about the blogs that actually learn about it. I mean, the real trick is all this awesome stuff we're about to hear about somehow having an effect in the game. So for instance, okay, it's called the 3 Military Orders of Kryta. These are the 3 most significant ones. If they somehow impact the gameplay or give us some real significant choices, and we have a lot of screen time with each of the 3, then yeah, that would be awesome. But somehow I don't know, I'm a bit pessimistic. I don't know whether it will happen. There's something different about being able to sit down and like read a book or something and then actually hope that the game itself invokes the same feelings. But we'll head on through with it and see how it goes. So the opening paragraph, the intro paragraph, is the relationship between the 3 martial arms of the human nation of Kryta is a delicate one. The Seraph are the army, the police force, and the protectors of the populace. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain this after I read the sentence, okay? Because I remember when I first read this lore post, I read it all so quickly and I ended up having to read it through again. So you've got the Seraph, okay? Think of the Seraph as just the bulk of the military. They're most of the guards, most of the regular police force, as it says, and just the protectors of the general populace. Most of them are the Seraph, okay? So the Seraph are kind of who you'd be thinking of most. Lieutenant Thackeray, if you remember, Logan Thackeray, if you remember, he's the leader of the Seraph, okay? That's his position, come Guild Wars 2. Okay, so he's the leader of the Seraph. But in addition to the Seraph, okay, and the Seraph are kind of the main ones, there is the Ministry Guard. The Ministry Guards serve the ministers, the government officials, and the nobility of Divinity. Divinity's Reach. So they're smaller naturally because the people that they serve are a smaller portion of the populace. But those are the Ministry Guard. I get the impression that they're sort of more well paid, better equipped, more well trained perhaps as well. Soldiers who are just literally hired maybe on a person-to-person basis from the people with the most money. The person with the most money hires the best guard. But they're not just necessarily all separate entities. Each guard isn't sort of on their own. The Ministry Guard is a thing in and of itself. It's an organisation like the Seraph. Okay, so those are the two main ones. But in addition, and you'll like this when you hear it, we've got the Shining Blade. The Shining Blade are the Queen's personal bodyguard and, as the well-informed may tell you, her spies. Okay, it shouldn't come as a massive spoiler to you guys that the Shining Blade win the war in Krypton. They win the civil war we're seeing at the moment in the main Let's Play. Okay, that shouldn't come as a surprise to you. The White Mantle don't stay in control forever. So hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler. But so the Shining Blade do still exist. They don't become like the main military or anything like that. Instead, they're elevated to a very private position, working as spies and the very personal bodyguards of the Queen herself. And I get the impression, no, it is just the Queen. It's not like the people who work around her. That would be more the Ministry Guard, but it's actually the Queen. So that's what the Shining Blade work as. They're more very well trained operatives, the best of the best. There's only a few of them, but if you're near one, you'll know it. And there's a brilliant line, if I remember rightly, in Edge of Destiny, where they're at Ebenhawk, I believe, and the Queen goes there, and I'm obviously not going to spoil too much of the book, but one of the Shining Blades there, and it's just this fantastic conversation that happens. So this blog post is basically about conversations like that. It's about how these three separate military arms, and there are some other arms, one of them is called the Fallen Angels, for example, and we'll get into that as the blog post goes on, but this blog post is really about how they all interact with one another, which is just, it's so well thought out. It's brilliant. So we get the first paragraph, and then the blog post takes a bit of a different turn, okay? Most of the lore blog posts that ArenaNet release, they're not just massive walls of text with flat-out information about a specific topic. Usually, they actually, and this is the first time we see it happen, they get split up with little stories that have been written by either Jeff Grubb or Rhys Osby, and they really help to break up the pace of it, and slowly you'll be reintroduced to the storyline as you go through the blog post, and it will conclude. They're only very, very small little stories, but they're really cool, and I love reading them, and it's because of these little things. I've never read anything Rhys Osby's written. I think she is a real author. She's had stuff published before, but when I read stuff like this and I know that she's read it, it just gets me so excited about the third book. God knows what that's about. So it should be pretty cool. Well, we know generally what it's about. It's about Lion's Arch, but I'm getting off topic. So let's read this starting little story that it jumps into here. So, Lieutenant Serentine knelt beside the body of the minister, careful not to cut herself on the broken slivers of glass that surrounded his right hand. A shattered goblet lay in fragments across the cobblestones of the alley. Shards twinkled in the light of her lantern. She turned over a piece of glass cautiously and watched a bit of red wine stain the stone beneath. What had the minister been doing in the poor area of Divinity's Reach? Who was responsible for his death? Lieutenant, one of her men stepped into the end of the alley, saluting. Serentine looked back over her shoulder and arched a brow. He shifted uncomfortably in his red livery. The symbol of the Ministry Guard blazoned on his chest. The Seraph are demanding control of the crime scene. The Seraph? She rose from her crouch, adjusting the warhammer on her back. They have no jurisdiction. A minister has been murdered. This is a Ministry Guard issue. Murdered while he was inside the walls of Divinity's Reach. A new speaker pushed aside the Ministry Guard and strode down the alley towards her. That's clearly our area of concern. He was handsome, sandy brown hair hanging lightly across his coppery eyes. Lieutenant Serentine, he greeted her as an afterthought. She narrowed her eyes. Captain Thackeray? Taking a personal interest? He was murdered by bandits in our city streets. You bet your hammer I am. So there you go. That's the start of the storyline. We'll keep coming back to it as it goes through. So it's very cool. I mean, I don't know how much I should really talk about these little stories as I go past, but it is. I just love the way these things are written. I just really do. I mean, I loved Ghost of Ascalon. It's just whenever I read these, it just makes me remember how bad Edge of Destiny was, and it makes me upset that there aren't more books. I mean, that really harmed the Guild Wars book franchise. They've said many times that they will produce more books if the initial ones sell, but I mean, Christ, they're just. They ruined it on the second one. I mean, I'm hoping that the third one will be good. It's written by Rhys herself, so it should be good. Right, anyway, so yeah, there's been a murder. Some ministry person's been murdered. The Ministry Guard naturally think it's their job to deal with it. But the Seraph decide that they want to step in, and in fact Lieutenant Thackeray himself decides he wants to step in. So, The Seraph, alright, so the most numerous of the Crichton military organisations is the Seraph, okay, so these are the people we'll be meeting most. They stretch their influence across the nation with outposts in every major town and patrols that struggle to keep roads free of bandit attacks and centaur raids. And in fact, in the demo, you do see there's a lot of Seraph. You can tell because they've all got like their own distinctive armour. I don't know what armour the Ministry Guard wear, if they even have a unified armour. Well, it does say that they've got their emblem blazoned on his chest in that story just now, so I suppose they do. But like you'll see, like they've got a screenshot here. I'll put that on the video. That you just recognise the Seraph when you see them. There's Logan Thackeray and some other woman next to him, and you can just tell. Where's that Logan? It might be someone else. It looks kick-ass though. It looks very cool. The concept art actually looks better than what it ended up looking like in the game, if you ask me, but that's beside the point. So it says here that despite the Seraph maintain all the patrols and keep roads free of bandits and stuff, it says, and yet they are also the most beleaguered, struggling to maintain supplies and munitions for their soldiers. The highest rank in the Seraph is Captain. At any given time, the Queen has from 5 to 10 captains in the Seraph. Each operates individually, but in coordination under her command. So that's pretty cool. That's how it works. So Logan Thackeray in the end becomes Captain Logan Thackeray. He becomes one of 5 to 10 captains. That's quite interesting, actually. I haven't thought about that very much. So he's not really the highest at all. There's lots of other people with the rank of Kieran Thackeray. Of Logan Thackeray, which is really, really cool. Also, I keep saying Thackeray. Yeah, the guy we've met in Eye of the North, Kieran Thackeray. I will reveal this, obviously, in the main Let's Play as we go through. But he is the, like, great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Logan. Let's just clear that up for a start. They are related through the ages, so yeah. But yeah, so there's quite a few. That's quite weird. I wonder whether we'll end up killing many of them, or see, this is the other thing I always wonder about, whether the main 5 characters, of which Logan is one of them, whether they'll always be on our side or not. I suppose they will, because the dungeons is all about getting them back together, but yeah. Alright, so each Seraph captain is granted authority over a certain territory of Kryta, be it the embattled foothills of High Timber Claim or the lowlands of Nebu Terrace. So Nebu Terrace we actually recognise. Who knows where High Timber Claim is? Whether it was actually a place we were in Guild Wars 1 in Kryta, or a section of the map that we couldn't really get to. In any case, that's how it works. So you've got the different areas, and each has a captain, and all the captains report to the Queen. In recent days, Queen Jenna has been absorbed in her duties to Ebenhawk and the treaty negotiated with the Char. Most of the command of the Seraph in Kryta has fallen on her closest captain, Logan Thackeray, whose immediate authority covers the city and environs of Divinity's Reach. So yeah, that's kind of why he's the top dog, because his area is Divinity's Reach. It's the frickin' capital, so you can understand why. Now considered the first among equals, he organises the body of Seraph response to overall threats against the nation. Okay, that's the information it's got in the Seraph. Pretty cool. I mean, I think most of us generally understand that and know a lot of that, particularly if you've read Edge of Destiny. You'll learn a lot more about how he got his position, and where it says there that he's got a close relationship with the Queen himself. Well, that's dived into a lot on Edge of Destiny. Don't know really how much I should talk about that, but yeah. So the next section is really short. This is the Ministry Guard. I don't know. They're supposed to be quite important with regards to the Seraph, but they get a much smaller section in the blog post. The second largest martial unit is the Ministry Guard. Typically seen only in Divinity's Reach, it is their task to keep the peace in the Ministry and provide personal security for the Crichton ministers and their aides. Yeah, so it makes sense they'd only be in Divinity's Reach because, of course, that's where most of the nobility is. So this usually also translates into being protectors of the nobility of Kryta, most of whom are heavily involved in the Ministry. Although their jurisdiction is more limited than the Seraphs, it is also more empowered. The Ministry Guard have the right to overrule Seraph authority where ministers are concerned in order to keep governmental secrets secure. The Ministry Guard is headed by the Commander of Divinity's Reach, who reports to the Legate Minister, the Ministry's highest office and speaker to the Queen. So they're very slightly differently, but they are more empowered. So in this little story up here where Logan butts in, I can understand, what's her name, Serentine? I can understand her being annoyed. I think that really the Ministry Guard should be in charge there. There's an interesting thing that kind of crops up that we'll see as we go through, that a lot of people discuss. We don't know whether in-game it really sets up the Ministry Guard and the Seraph really don't like each other. There's a lot of political upheaval in Divinity's Reach, and a lot of people are really interested as to whether we get to actually choose which of these forces we align with more. It's not necessarily as easy as that. It's more to do with the people opposing the Queen and why they oppose the Queen and so on, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So that's the Seraph and the Ministry Guard. One is just the police and the regular military, and one is just for the political people. And then we got the Shining Blade. All right, so this is the good one. The Shining Blade are the Queen's own guard. Derived from original Shining Blade freedom fighters during the war in Krita, the modern Shining Blade watch over the royal family itself. Although they are the smallest and least known of the Krytan military units, the Shining Blade are superlatively trained as an elite force. Unknown to most of the populace, many of the Shining Blade also perform more covert duties. See, this is so awesome! These are like the spies. These are the ultimate people. It's so cool. But there's just not that many of them. From spying on political enemies to carrying out secret messages throughout the nation, the Shining Blade carries out hidden missions at the request of the Krytan throne. Their leader is the Master Exemplar of the Shining Blade, a position appointed by the Queen. Who is the Master Exemplar? I don't think I know who that is. I don't think I've ever heard of who the Master Exemplar is. Or is that the woman that's in Edge of Destiny, or is that just someone else? The Master Exemplar reports only to the Queen and may supersede the authority of either of the two other branches of military with the Queen's permission. So it's kind of staggered. Like, I remember this came out, people were saying on the blog post, like, oh, maybe we can start as a Seraph and then we'll get better at the Seraph and then we'll join the Ministry Guard and then eventually we'll join the Shining Blade. You know, kind of like a guild or something that you might find in like an Elder Scrolls game. I don't think I'd like that so much. I wouldn't like it to be so clear cut. I'd like it to be we choose one of the forces. But no, I don't even think we should choose the Shining Blade. They're too elite. I know that we're probably going to be a player that ends up defeating an Elder Dragon somehow, but I think, you know, they should be seen. I think if you let the players do it, suddenly it doesn't seem so awesome anymore. So I think that should be sort of one of those things that way they remain awesome and super secretive and cool. The second you join an organisation like that, it just loses a lot of its mystique, shall we say. But yeah. So when Queen Jenna's father died and she was invested to the Krytan throne, she appointed Countess Anise to the rank of Master Exemplar. Yeah, there you go, Countess Anise. Yes, she is the Master Exemplar. Yeah, that's the scene in Edge of Destiny. It's to do with her. So Anise defended Jenna as her personal guard while Jenna was a young princess. The two are very close companions. Although Anise is not thought of as a powerful combatant, her cunning and ability to predict the actions of others has long served to keep the Queen safe. Now Anise protects Krytan interests with an equally sharp edge. You see what it says here about her ability to predict the actions of others? If you read Edge of Destiny as well, it just ramps that up to 10. It sounds like Anise is a Mesmer. Mesmer hasn't been revealed yet as a profession, as we all know. But it sounds like if they've ever hinted at a single character having a profession anymore, it's probably Anise being a Mesmer. It really sounds like she is. So there you go, those are the three organisations. We get a bit more story here. The poison in the wine was difficult to track, but unusual enough to make a positive identification. Smugglers, no doubt working on behalf of bandits, had gotten into the inn. But what caused Master Brios to go there in the first place? Serentine paced the wide halls of the ministry chamber, avoiding the peasants who scuttled along on business here or there. They did not concern her, only the safety of the ministers did. Yeah, that's quite interesting how she just really doesn't care about... I guess that's how the ministry guard is, though. The regular people have got the Seraph, so yeah. Something had to have drawn Brios downtown. Something important enough for him to go quickly, and shady enough that he didn't bring a guard. Had he been engaging in treason? It was possible. More than a few ministers were on record with the belief that the treaty with the Char was foolhardy, throwing away any victories and condemning Ascalon to Char rule forever. Opening the door to Brios' office with her master key, Serentine stepped inside. She ruffled through every scrap of information she could find, digging through his desk unreservedly. Receipts, dinner invitations, missives from Ascalon settlement, the area that Minister Brios represented, and scraps of notes from various ministry sessions. Nothing personal, nothing that named the inn or implied a reason for him to leave the safety of his apartments. "Take the schedule book and seize any classified files," she ordered the two guards that followed her. "One of you stay on door duty here, and the other..." Before she could finish her sentence, Serentine's eye fell once more on a piece of paper that she discounted in her initial search. An invitation to afternoon tea with the Countess Anise, dated the same day as Brios' death. Anise, Serentine frowned. Master Exemplar of the Shining Blade. But if Brios had been considering treason, how did he walk away from a meeting with the Queen's Guard? Yeah, it's very interesting. It's